Scope launched YouTube very recently. I have been advised to give the first bite for this new initiative launched by Scope. Today being the Public Sector Day, 10th April, it gives me pleasure to speak on public sector enterprises in India, its growth and the upheavals which the public sector enterprises have passed from time to time. Scope, as everybody knows, is an apex industry chamber which is for the growth, professionalization and perfectization of all the public sector enterprises. The history of public sector enterprises as it goes, it starts in 1950s, because soon after independence, India realized that there is a total dearth of infrastructure. There was no financial resource available in the country to go for new projects. The only good part was that India had very cheap labor force. The economy was based on agrarian factor only. 50s, India could invest in first few public sector enterprises. The investment was of the order of around 29-30 crores only. And since then, more than 6 decades have passed, and India is going strong and stronger in terms of the contribution of public sector enterprises in not only the economy of the country but also in the social sector for the growth of deprived classes. But the history tells that from 1950 to almost 1990, public sector enterprises had some limitations because the number of employees were very large. They were taken the name of social requirement. The number of employees were somewhere around 24 lakhs at that time. Obviously, the productivity was at a lower level, and the public sector enterprises became synonymous with letharginess, ineffectiveness, and even though the name was given commanding heights or temples of India, were subject to criticism. But soon after came the open and liberalized policy when economy was kept open for global competitiveness, and Indian public sector proved their mettle. Profitability went up very high, turnover went very high, and they started competing at global level. This activity continued even after the turn of the century, 20,000 and beyond. But then it was realized that no, the business of doing business is not business alone, but this is something beyond business, and that was the social activity, corporate social activity. And public sector here also proved very good for the growth of socially backward people, deprived class, poor people, particularly living in the rural area. Today's public sector has given that yes, they can partner with the development process with the government in meeting its twin objective, which is economic development and social justice. And Government of India has also supported it by way of enlarging the investment this year. As you can see that the investment in public sector enterprises were around 12.5 lakhs crore against somewhere around 11 lakhs crores in the previous year. And public sector proved even better this year by way of reflecting better profit. The gross profit went up to 1,57,000 crores, but there are some 82 sick units, financially stressed units, who incurred loss. The loss has also come down in this year from 30,000 crore to 20,000 crores, and therefore the net profit has come to 1.27 lakh crore against about 1.1 lakh crore in the previous year. Public sector contribution in the Indian GDP around 12 to 13%, which is not a small contribution, because they have been paying heavily towards the taxes, duties, dividend for the growth of the government exchequer. You will be surprised to know that this year the contribution of public sector enterprises has been 3.86 lakhs crores, which is almost 20% of the total revenue received by Government of India from all the enterprises, private, public, and everyone. This is not a small, 1/5 of the total revenue coming from public sector alone. The confidence of investors is larger in public sector enterprises because 46, 47 PSU who have been listed are responsible for a market capitalization which is more than 10%. So hardly 1 to 2% of the listed companies contributing more than 10% of the market capitalization is a very big strength that public sector provides and the confidence of the investors in public sector enterprises. The companies are running through a well-structured board composition. There are 3 wings of the board: functional directors who largely come from within the organization. There are government nominee directors who largely come from administrative ministry, and there are independent directors. All these 3 combine to give a very typical coalition, which is the board of directors of public sector enterprises. There are limitations, and therefore scope has been imparting training, some sort of capacity building to directors by way of organizing international seminars, by way of organizing training program on corporate governance, and so many programs to improve the lot at director level and also down below director level. Scope has floated an academy of public sector enterprises, which is imparting training to large many employees, starting from induction level to mid-management level, and very soon we will be going for the even top management level. The leadership program scope has been conducting for imparting leadership quality at par with any of the known international standard by way of exchange of programs, exchange of views, visit of our leaders and top management people to outside the country, in Europe, in Germany, in States, and all that. So this has been the effort taken by scope to improve the lot in public sector enterprise. There are problems. Problems are that public sector enterprises have been crying very hard to give the autonomy, because even today they feel that there has been some sort of influence, formal, informal, towards working of the public sector enterprises. Therefore, autonomy has been the most sought after commodity in public sector enterprises today. At the same time, I must say that the public sector enterprises have also to do something, because wherever they have been given autonomy, wherever they have been given empowerment, they are not coming to the expectation of the decision making process. Therefore, there is a need of not driving the thing based on who is doing what, but to cooperate, to collaborate, and then come to compete in the national and international way. Another area which I must say that the mindset has to change, because the public sector corporate sector as such has not remained the same corporate sector today. Things have changed, particularly after the recession period which the world witnessed in 2008, and things have completely changed. The mindset has to change accordingly by way of introducing some intangible benefit which could be provided to public sector enterprises, like going for the risk management, risk advisory role, risk assessment, and also do something on towards the better part of the corporate governance by way of bringing transparency, by way of reflecting better accountability, and all that have been required to improve the corporate governance in public sector enterprise. I shall continue to come from time to time. Since this was my first bite, I thought I must share these aspects. There are so many micro aspects on which I shall be talking from time to time. Thank you very much. Thanks, and long live public sector. Today is the public sector day, so I am very happy to conclude at this stage. Thank you.